Alright guys, so this is part 2 of the video series that we're going to be doing for this discussion week. This time we're going to be focused on female adolescent basketball players. And this is huge because it's very similar to female soccer players or any female athlete. One of the main direct causes to ACL tears is similar to the baseball video, is, hip immobility, right? And basketball players in general, regardless of the gender or position and they're in, they're long, they're stiff, they're very rigid and structured. They tend to, walk with their leg straight, right? It means that whenever they put their knees under a lot of stress as well as their hips, there's not a whole lot of mobility going on. Now the guards, you'll see a lot more flexibility because they're usually quicker and lighter and faster, and they'll tend to cut more. But with forwards and centers, you'll see this characteristic a lot. And it's not a bad thing. It's part of their development, part of their structure. However, there are some ways to make it better. And a good way to do this is to incorporate plyometrics at a very high volume with some traditional strengthening training methods. Now, in the studies that I posted above, they highly recommend to concentrate on both planes. So to explain it, the sagittal plane, cuts the body, from left half to right half, and all the movements, like similar to flexion and extension, happen in this plane because they don't touch that plane. Coronal plane or frontal plane, for simple terms, that cuts the body from front half to back half. So basically, the movements like abduction, adduction, they don't touch that plane either. So it makes a lot of sense to work both planes to, elicit, a fine motor development. To start, and again, using some examples, we're going to be doing what's called a squat hot jump. Very, very intense. We're going to be doing about 4 sets of 30 for the athlete. The NSCA recommends to keep this at a very high volume. So you start here, back straight, then in the knees at 90 degrees, alternate front back. Right? Now, the lateral movement, we're going to do what's called on some skaters, right? So you're going to start here, cross, similar to skating with Plyometrics. They do these a lot. A lot of players that rely on quick cutting movements that are very hard on their knees get a lot of excessive ankle eversion and knee valgus, and sometimes vice versa. All in the moment, right? You got to prepare the athlete for those tight moments. So some skaters, a very similar drill to this. You have a slide board. You can actually practice sliding, this way. Those are two examples of, exercises in the frontal plane. Now, back to sagittal. So I'm going to show you two other ones. Standard box jump. Even some depth jumps where you slowly, and this is good for ACL rehabilitation as well. So you'll do a depth jump, slowly glide off, and land on your feet fast. I'll show you again, slow motion. Right? Now here's one that I kind of invented. It wasn't presented in the studies, but I kind of created this together on the fly. The one reason why I did this, I want to elicit the sport-specific movement of, for instance, a layup. Basketball players will do a lot of layups, and that's usually where disaster happens. A lot of contact injuries, a lot of non-contact collision injuries. They tend to happen here. Or even, you can even simulate a rebound for this as well. Disaster happens here too. So, I'm using a kettlebell. You can use a dumbbell, a medicine ball, whatever you wish. But the goal is, when you do the step up and drive, you drag your arms down to the opposite direction. I'll show it in a frontal view. So, up here, step up, drop, step up, drop, just like that, right? Now this one, since it has weights and it requires a lot of core stability, you'll want to do this at about 4 sets of 10 for this one. You want the athlete to kind of progress slow with it and really emphasize a good feedback to kind of hold and do the movement slow throughout the process at first, to elicit that core strength, get that shoulder extension and working the way it should, with shoulder flexion, and most importantly, make sure that there's hip mobility and balance, because that is everything in a basketball game.